Just want to say, normally we'd all get all dressed up fancy. Now I'm just in a sweatsuit. Sorry, sweatpants killers. And we'd bring you all in a theater and have a nice dinner and get to know you. This is what we have. But I did want the opportunity to get to know you. I've been enjoying your plays the last few weeks of rehearsal, and of course, reading them all before then. I'll step back for a second. So Left Edge Theater is in our 6th season of producing brave, bold, left-leaning, thought-provoking plays. And we try to focus on shows that are written within the last 6 years that have never been produced in our county before. So this whole COVID thing hit, and we were in the midst of the Flick. It was the 2nd weekend of the Flick, which Paige was in. And we had to close up shop and then quickly try to figure out how to stay relevant to our artists and to our audiences. And so we've been doing our shows on Zoom or in online formats since that time. And this slot that Hindsight is taking place in was when we were going to do our first musical. We were about to produce Fun Home. And in a Zoom format, we didn't think that was such a good idea. So April George, who is our stage technician at the theater, said, what if you have a new play festival, since you can work with anybody in the whole world? And we all were like, yeah, let's do that. So I'm eager to find out how you heard about us and this call to the plays. And we received nearly 200 submissions, and yours are the final 12. And now at this time, I'd like to just go around square to square and each person say their name and how they're associated with the project. So Jeff, you're on my left. Why don't you get things kicking?
Sure.
Wave, say hi. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Basham. I'm the production stage manager. I'm located in Santa Rosa, California, and have been working with Left Edge for a couple of years now. And I guess we'll just go to Brooke and then Kimberly and down the line.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brooke Dengler. I'm one of the stage managers / remote operators for this festival. I'm also in Sonoma County, and I've been with Left Edge since Small Mouth Sounds, which is one of their first shows on Zoom. And I joined when things went remotely, and I'll be helping you kind of create these visions. So thank you. Excited to work with you.
Hi, everybody. Really glad to see the faces. It's so exciting. I'm Kimberly Callenberg. I'm an actor with the company and the casting director, and I've been with the company since the beginning. Happy to be looking at all of you.
How about Ken?
Hey, my name is Ken Pruce, and I'm in near Orlando, Florida right now. And I am one of the writers, and I found out from a writers group. In fact, I see several people here from our writers group where we share opportunities to submit. So I submitted, and I'm happy to be a part. Thanks so much.
And Guy?
Hi, I'm Guy Newsham. I'm up in Ottawa, Canada, and I am one of the playwrights of Alexa the Liar.
Jackie?
Hi, I'm Jackie Martin. I'm in Norwood, Massachusetts. I'm a playwright, and I am also part of the group that sometimes shares submission opportunities. So I believe I probably saw it there as well. I'm happy to be here.
Adam?
Hey, my name's Adam. I'm from Sydney, Australia. Thanks for having me, everyone, today. I think I saw the opportunity as part of that group as well. And I'm the writer of a play called The Stinkiest Thing. And that's all due to my 4-year-old daughter, which I'll explain later on. She's not stinky.
Ken?
See, I'm Ken Levine. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm the writer of the play Surf's Up. And I, too, am part of that group. And it's so nice to meet all of you, and especially the folks from the group who I can now put some faces to the names.
Mr. Winkler?
I'm Joe Winkler. I will be directing Virtual Happy Hour, and I've been working with the company since their second year.
Hey, Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Volvos. I'm a playwright. I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I wrote an interview with a George. And I heard about the call for plays through Twitter. An actor friend of mine retweeted it and tagged me on it, and I was so glad to find that posting. So thank you for having me.
Great. Hey, Richard. I'm having trouble hearing you, Richard. You're not on mute, but we still can't hear you. It's okay, still can't hear you. Maybe we'll come back in a second, give you a chance. Hey, Andrea.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I wrote Get Sexy on Zoom, and I'm in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I'm also in the Playwrights group that heard about this opportunity.
Is that the Playwrights Exchange? Is that the group?
Playwrights Binge.
Okay, great. Yeah. Hi, Serena.
Hi, I am Serena. I am here in Sonoma County. I'm a local actress up here. I've been working with Left Edge for, I don't know, but I now consider them to be my home. And I am acting in Richard's play, Virtual Happy Hour, and I am directing Andrea's play, Get Sexy on Zoom. Woo! Woo!
Nice. Hey, Cindy, you there?
I am. I apologize for the lack of video, but I've been having computer problems lately. So yes, I'm Cindy Brillhart-True. I am directing Perseverance. So nice to see you, David. And we're very excited about it.
Hi, Felicia.
Hello, I am Felicia. This is my first project with Left Edge. I live in Phillipsburg, California, and previously ran a theater in Mendocino. So this is kind of a new community for me. And I was part of the selection committee that read everything. Hi, Greg. I'm the Twitter connection. Oh, and I'm directing Seconds, Ken's play.
All right. Hello, David Yen.
Hello. My name is David Yen. I'm in Windsor, California. I been acting, directing, playing around up here for a few decades, and have Argo 3-4 shows via Zoom at this point. So as weird as this environment is, I've been playing around with it a lot. I will be directing Surf's Up. Hello, Ken. And performing in, where'd you go, Greg? Hello, Greg. Performing in Interview with a George.
Hi, Paige. You're on mute.
Very true. Hi, everyone. I'm Paige Picard. You've seen me on email. I've been with Left Edge since the second season as an actor, and then most recently transitioning into an artistic associate. And for this project, I'm really, really, really excited to be directing No Regrets by John, and then acting in Sweatpants by Ray and Linda, and acting in Eva Hearts Riley by Chris. Hi, all of you.
Hi, Linda.
Hello. Hi, everybody. So I had a ticket to the flick. It was the day that Sonoma County closed down. That's when I had my ticket. So I was really sad about that. So hopefully some point soon I'll be able to go see you guys live. So I heard about the contest or this call for plays from one of my students. She's a subscriber for Left Edge, and I teach theater for the older adults program. Nice. And my co-writer is Ray, and also I'm in Sonoma County.
Hi, Chris.
Okay. Hi, my name is Chris Eli Black. I'm currently in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm the writer of the play Eva Hearts Riley. I believe I found out about this through a Facebook group, 2020, y'all. And I'm so excited to see all the shows and see all you beautiful people get to work.
Hey, David.
Hello, David Lipschutz. I'm out of Chicago. I wrote Perseverance, and I should show you the motivation for it is right there. What was the last thing I was supposed to say? I don't even remember. I was so excited to show you guys my exercise bike.
Oh, I love your exercise bike. How did you hear about the festival?
Oh, I found an article showcasing it, and I was really excited to submit.
Terrific. Hey, John.
Hello, everybody. I'm John. I'm in Framingham, outside of Boston, and yeah, I think also on the Playwrights marketing binge is probably where I heard about it, or in a Facebook group, one of the two. And I was the author of No Regrets.
Terrific. Hi, Lulu.
Hi, I'm Lulu. I'm directing and acting in The Stinkiest Thing by Adam. Very excited to see you all here. I'm in Sonoma County as well. I've worked with Left Edge for a couple of shows now, so this will be my third.
Hi, Linda.
That's actually Ray.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, Ray. Yeah, Linda Lau and Ray. Ray.
Yes,
Hi, Ray.
I was like, I looked, I was like, wait a minute, it looks like I'm also Linda. I am not Linda. I am Linda's co-author, Ray Mansfield. I am in Lowell, Massachusetts, so 35 miles north of Boston in the middle of a blizzard. And with Linda, I'm the co-author of Sweatpants. And I found out about the contest that it existed because Linda told me.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, I'm Denise Leah again. I am very new to Left Edge, but not new to the acting community up and around here in Windsor, California. And I am directing No Right Time, and I am acting in An Interview with a George.
Terrific. There we're all well met. Bravo. I thought it would just be fun to hear from each of the playwrights to let us know a little bit about themselves. And we can go in the order that we're doing the plays, or we can just keep it casual like this, up to you. And so some of the questions that I sent or had asked Paige to send you were, when did you start writing and why? What pieces are you working on now and that you're excited about? And what was the inspiration about this piece? But really, you can take this time to let us know anything you want about yourself. And, we'll try to keep it about 3 or so minutes, because then we want to ask questions for another 3 or so minutes each. If there are questions from the actors, they're attending as an audience right now. We can't see their faces, but they're here. So Chris Schlemp, Corey Jackson, Grace Kent, Jasmine Pierce, John Browning, Julianne Bradbury, Mark Bradbury, and Melissa Clare are in the audience. And if they have a question, I know that Jeff said they could put it in the Q&A and we would get to it, but we could also maybe bring them in, at least hear their voices for those questions. So
Can we jump back real quick and have
Sure.
Richard introduce himself?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jeff. See, he keeps me on track. Hi, Richard.
I feel like a character in one of my plays now. Thanks for your patience. I had it set up for another mic. I'm Richard Castle. I'm in North Hollywood, California, and I wrote Virtual Happy Hour. And I believe I've heard about this through one of the Facebook groups about submissions. But I live in LA. I'm originally from Boston, so I see all these New England writers, and it's exciting to see people from back home.
Nice. Yeah, we really wanted to find a way to meet authors and to get to know them. We're now obviously admirers of your work, so we'd love for you to submit any length play now to us. We're choosing our next season. We're probably going to get serious in February, so if by the end of January you are interested in submitting a play by then, that would be a good deadline. If you're interested in that, and we would love to read your work all the time. I hope that we'll become a company that you work with for many years and trust and fall in love with. We try to keep it simple and just work with the best people that we can and keep the drama on the stage and not off the stage. So yeah, Richard, since you got cut short, if you'd like to start with, answers to those questions, or just, get to know you, would be great.
Yeah. So let's see. I've really spent most of my time writing musicals. I'm a book writer and lyricist, and only recently started writing non-musical plays, and recently meeting since COVID. And since no one was doing musicals online, I thought I would start to write some plays. And so Virtual Happy Hour started early spring, and I had my very first happy hour online with some friends, and I sort of was left feeling sad afterwards. Like, I was happy to see them, but our interaction online felt awkward compared to the chemistry we had in person. So I was sitting at my computer talking about ideas out loud, and Siri kept interrupting me as if it was hearing me, as if I was talking to her. And I thought it was annoying, but also a little funny. And so I wrote a little short musical called Virtual Happy Hour, the musical. And it had 3 songs in it. And again, nobody was doing musicals. And so I decided to adapt it into a play. And as I was adapting it into the play version, the happy ending that the musical had didn't feel right. There's something about musicals that kind of want to have a happy ending, and the play went off in a different direction. So they're 2 different animals, and I love them both. They're like 2 different children. And let's see, what else I've been working on. I have a musical that was supposed to go up last summer in a little theater in Wisconsin, and I'm hoping it'll go up next summer, depending on what's going to happen. And I've just been writing a lot of little 10-minute plays and enjoying that. I'm working on a cabaret night of my musicals, songs from my musicals, and a lot of standalone songs. There's a song I wrote called Mr. Whiskers is going to be part of a show called Sex on Broadway in February in a theater in Virginia. Again, it'll be online. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be part of this. And I saw what you guys did with the Thanksgiving play, and I thought it was terrific. So I'm really happy to be here and be in such good company.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we'd love to hear some of the music. Maybe you could send it our way sometime.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Send it through Paige. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody have questions for Richard?
No, but now I want to do Virtual Happy Hour, the musical.
Serena, the character that you play has a song that she sings with Ace called Click. I Click With You.
Oh, come on. John and I would kill that.
You look very different than you do on your television show.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, we were wondering, Richard, about the character Ace. Since he is an avatar, we were originally going to portray it with like an avatar on the screen.
Yeah.
But then we fell in love with our actor who's playing Ace. And so we're just trying to enhance them through makeup and through their face and make their background be virtual looking. Some more Max Headroomy, but without all the jerkiness.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's Joe's idea. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first reading that you put on Facebook, and I thought he was great too. Everybody was great, but I thought he was so funny. And yeah, I mean, it could probably be done either way, but I always prefer to have a live actor over, anything virtual. But I also think that what I love about Ace, and I just want to say, is that he is not sinister. There's nothing sinister about him. He's only doing what he's programmed to do, and what everyone else has develops their relationship with him, but it's really one-sided. So he's not like a HAL 3000 from Space Odyssey.
That's interesting. So the plays, we put them into 4 groupings. They naturally, or somewhat naturally, fell into these 4 groupings, with one being the first group about technology. And so interesting that you bring that up, because Alexa the liar, this is a good segue to you, Guy. We thought at first she was going to be very sinister, but ends up, of course, helping or so we hope. But we did have that question, was there some influence there from 2001? Space Oddity.
Who are you asking?
Oh, Guy.
Oh, you're asking me.
Author of Alexa the Liar, yeah.
No, I don't think there was. I think it just came from, I was staying with my sister a couple of years ago, and she had just got an Alexa, and I had never interacted with one, so we did what everybody did, which is ask her stupid questions. And it just occurred to me that we all take Alexa's answers as the truth now. And the thought was, well, what happens if she stops telling the truth and starts lying, and in what the motivation for that might be, and see what happened. But it's a comedy; it's not sinister.
Yeah, definitely a comedy. So that's the inspiration. What are you writing now these days that's really you're getting excited about?
Well, I have a few things on the go. I've written mostly 10-minute plays and a couple of one-acts, but I've finished drafts of 2 full lengths recently as well. But the 10-minute play that I finished last weekend, I had a little workshop thing with my friends online, is a play called 1098. Thinking of 10-minute plays, I was trying to think of scenarios where you'd have a literal countdown in time. And so it's a NASA launch pad with 3 astronauts. Only one of the astronauts is only there because they won the spot through a reality show competition. So they have no idea what they're doing. And it's, again, a comedy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too far from the truth.
And I come to writing actually through community theatre. I've been an actor in community theatre for quite some time. In fact, I was ready to go on stage in an Agatha Christie back in April, and that's now in suspension for who knows how long, and started writing, I think maybe seriously about 3 years ago.
Thank you. Well, we're lucky to have the play. So I'm directing that piece, and we're going to be filming it. We start filming it tomorrow. Mark and Julianne are both here in the audience. I don't know if they have any questions for you. I'll give them a chance to type those in or raise their hand. But we wondered about the line, the hydro. We know that you're from Canada, and we were wondering if we could change it to energy or power with your permission.
Of course, whatever's locally meaningful. Yes.
Yeah.
And I would. I made a vow to myself a couple of years ago that if ever my plays were selected for production, I would always go and see it in person. And being in Ottawa in January, I'd love to have an excuse to come to California. I have drunk wine in Sonoma before,
Okay.
but I guess this year is not to be.
You never say never. We'll come to you. We've always wanted to be in a blizzard. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Mark, Julianne, any questions? No. All right. So rounding out.
Yes. Actually, Mark does have a question, Argo.
Okay, great.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
There I am. Yeah, welcome to California anytime. I'm looking out the window and there are currently no fires right now. So now is a good time to come. I was a big Twilight Zone fan when I was younger, and this play reminds me a lot of a Twilight Zone episode where you kind of think that something sinister is going to happen, and then it turns out that it's all right. But I just wanted to say I very much love the piece that you wrote, and we're really excited to get started tomorrow.
Thank you, and I'm enthusiastic about this because one of the things I often wonder about is this an original idea? And of course, as we just heard from Richard, the concept of AI coming to life is it's a fairly familiar environment that we've seen in other places. I'm encouraged that we're seeing some different takes on it, and it's still original and it's from different directions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So rounding out the technology group, we have Get Sexy on Zoom by Andrea.
Hi. Yeah, I wrote Get Sexy on Zoom. I've been writing plays for about 5 years. I was acting for fun first, and then acting led to writing. And Get Sexy on Zoom. I stole some of the material from dating online during a pandemic. And I just noticed a lot of people on their profiles were suddenly writing, looking for monogamous or non-monogamous relationships. And I started to see, oh, people now during a pandemic are having different ideas about relationships and how they meet people online or offline. And I did meet a man online who said he worked for Homeland Security and he couldn't talk about politics because of the Hatch Act. So that is all true from the play. And of course I Googled Hatch Act to find out, wait a minute, and that was a line of his. And I just thought it was hilarious. And so that's in the play. And the inspiration is, of course, everything happening in the world and also politics and trying to be a good person, but finding out about the people you're meeting and these two very different people on a Zoom date and their different expectations.
Yeah, well, it's hysterical, and you can see that we're starting that episode with your piece. We think it's a good segue that people can relate right into that situation. Anybody have any questions for Andrea, the people who are involved in that project, directors?
Actually, you answered some of my questions, which I was afraid to ask because I don't know you and I didn't want to be like, so Andrea, how's your experience with dating on, dating during COVID going for you? So I'd previously talked to one of my single girlfriends who lives in Chicago, where I'm originally from, and it really blew my mind, like what is going on out there. And it definitely paralleled what you wrote. And so I'm pleased, I'm tickled to see that it actually did come from your own experience. And it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I don't think I could do it. And thankfully I don't have to, but.
Yeah, it's weird, but I just wanted to clarify that I didn't go on a sex Zoom date. Some of it I made up.
No, that's not the part I was inferring, but thank you for clarifying.
Jeff, it looks like Melissa Claire has a
Yep, she's ready to talk. Go ahead, Melissa.
Hi, Andrea. I was going to say I'm honored to play you, but I might not be exactly playing just part of you. I was also on the play reading committee, and when we were reading this, something that made this, there was a lot of plays that had this scenario, but I love the physical comedy aspect of it. I loved the dancing and the shoulder and all of those things that you chose very deliberately. So I was wondering if you could talk more about that part of it.
I guess, thank you, Melissa. By the way, I saw your reading, your table read, and you guys were great. So that was really fun to see the table read. But so I'm trying to make Zoom lively, and so I'm trying to include something physical in Zoom. And for me, it's a play about two lonely people. It's about loneliness, trying to connect. But I also like to mix in a little bit of the ridiculous. And so, that scene where they get up and are dancing is, I can't wait to see what you guys do with that.
The description of the least sexiest dance ever.
Yeah.
Really leaves it open for interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's sad and also pathetic and like a lovely combination of all of those things.
Serena's an amazing dancer and choreographer, so I'm really looking forward to disappointing her entirely.
Perfect, Melissa. I'm very excited, honey.
Let's see. So
what's what Corey Jackson wants to.
Oh, great.
Speak. You'll need to unmute yourself, Corey.
Hi, it's me, Corey. I just want to say I love your play, and I have had many of those experiences on dating sites, so I know how to play the awkwardness. But yeah, I'm honored to be a part of it, and it's going to be so much fun working with these two, and I love your play.
Thank you, Corey. It was fun watching you in the read through, but you were too nice.
Isn't
But I
nice?
think
He is very nice.
I could say, I was like, oh, this guy's so nice. I don't know. But no, you guys were amazing. Thank you. I'm so excited to see it.
Thank
Oh, no, thank you so much. It's an honor, and I'll mean up. I'll mean up.
So the next category of plays that, or I should say episode, are the mysteries and thrillers and fantasy category. So Sweatpants, if Linda and Ray would like to speak a little bit about their inspiration or anything else you'd like us to know.
Hey everybody. So Ray and I have been collaborating since 2017, so 3 years now. And we write full-length plays and short plays. And for this piece, I think it's for every piece we write, it's a combination of both our ideas. We just talk to each other, and that's kind of how we get started. So I don't think there was a particular objective aside from, okay, here's a call for plays, and it looks like a lot of fun. We can really incorporate a lot of new things that we've never tried out before. And Ray can speak to more about our inspiration.
It's like we had a combination of inspirations of Sweatpants, the primary inspiration, Sweatpants, and how everyone is giving up, and that how that has impacted everyday life. Then we wanted to address like issues of like police brutality and like changes in interpersonal interactions and relationships. Then let's see, why the two of us started writing. It's like a combination of escaping a terrible situation and a tarot card reading, I think, are the two things that combined that led to the two of us writing together. Right now, let's see, things we're excited about right now. We have, because like both of us had experience like working with older adults in theater. And so we've turned that into the Theater for Lifelong Learning project. And we are in the midst of trying to defeat reviewer number 2 and getting our book published about theater for older adults. And we're also like working on a new play called Jesus is Dead, which on paper looks like it's Jesus is Dead. So it's going to be interesting sending that out to people. They'll have to read the play to get past the title. This is a very strange holiday season for me in particular, because for the past 13 years, I've been the deck manager and like head rigger for the Slutcracker at the Somerville Theater, which is like Massachusetts holiday tradition. And so like right now we are doing everything online instead. So if you want to see like online burlesque Slutcracker, you can find us at www.theslutcracker.com.
Thank you. I'm gonna look that up. So I'm have the privilege of working on Sweatpants with Paige and with Grace and Grace's boyfriend Devin. So Grace and Devin are in one household, so he got the killer role, which is very funny. He walked by today on the screen with a shovel, and we all split up, just laughed. It was too funny. In context of saying, we know that they've got a shovel. Yeah, it was great. We did have some questions, and I think maybe you left it open-ended on purpose, but Paige and I didn't see the ending the same way. I thought that Devin walked back into his house on his screen, and Paige thought that he came into Ace's house. And so we went back and forth on that, and just wanted to know, we're because of COVID, we're keeping it at Devin and Grace's house and not going to the other house. But what was your intent there at the end?
Also, I'll just add that we keep saying Asa and Asa. So whatever one you had in mind when you were writing it, we would love to hear so we can actually clear that up.
So in terms of the killer, that is up to director discretion. Yes, we did that on purpose so that it could be both something that you could do during COVID or something you could do after COVID about COVID.
And it's Asa.
Asa, nice.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I wanted to just say, like, reading it, when we were reading everything that was submitted, and like everyone's play here, you know, stood out to, I think, all of us. And Sweatpants was one of the first plays I think that I read where I really had like such an immediate, like excited reaction to it. And I just really loved that it like kind of incorporated these things that are so popular now, like true crime. Like it was just really fun to see like something that is like, you know, in podcasts everywhere, and yeah, like being done in a small play. And I think that it's really clear that like the level of detail and like your careful placing of like clues and hints is just so like meticulous, and it's been really fun to like work with. And I think we're still like even picking up on things that you put in there. So it's been really fun.
I think Grace has a question too.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say it's really nice to meet you, Linda and Ray. It's really cool to like hear kind of how your process goes, like writing between the two of you. I'm also interested in what tarot cards that you drew when you like came up with this play, because I read tarot. And I also wanted to add that the Slut Cracker sounds very interesting. I also do burlesque myself. So anyways, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like feeling more aligned with this, you know, being in sweatpants, being part of this project.
Yeah, we're all in sweatpants doing this every day.
And the backyard cruise, I actually am like, what are these two planning on doing in their backyard cruise besides Mai Tai?
Drinking Mai Tais.
Cocktail dresses.
It's like Mai Tais, and we drag the chair out into the backyard, and we're totally on a cruise. Yes, I actually stole that from my friend Carrie, who decided she was going to have a backyard cruise, but
You're right.
Ingenious.
Hey, David, you want to let us know a little bit how, other than your exercise equipment in the corner there, about your process? And, now you should also snap a picture of that for us so we can put it as a set inspiration for all.
Oh, sure, I can do that for you. My piece is all about teaching a spin class online, and since the shelter in place took effect, I've been doing spin classes online, and when I first started doing it, I was looking at various different places that were showing videos, and some of them were like just super like over the top, and then like some were terrible. And I ended up finding a place that, even though they're very enthusiastic, like they get the job done, so it's very fun. But one guy, he was teaching a class and he like fell off his bike while he was teaching, and it kind of gave me the motivation. I was like, what if this was haunted in some way? And so that's where I got the inspiration. And I was like, I want to do something that could be done online on Zoom, but is not necessarily like a Zoom based performance. And so I was like, what if it's like a YouTube video? And I realized when writing it, and I read it again today before this event, I was like, I wonder if Cindy's gonna have like a lot of questions, because my stage directions are so specific. Like I could give Cindy a tour of my basement and be like, here's the piano, here's the TV, here's this, here's that. Like it's very specific that I was like, there's no way anyone's gonna want to direct this, so I'll just do it myself in my own basement. But I'm big on, I do camp drag theater in Chicago, and so I couldn't have, I think the title's kind of punny, and I just wrote a short piece called Goy Vey, which is about a non-Jewish individual going on a Zoom date with a Jewish individual, and the Jewish individual's entire family ends up joining the Zoom call. And so that's going to be hopefully done next year. And I also am working on a full-length musical, which would be my first, called Friday the 13th. I'm hoping Joan Crawford is the killer. I don't know how it's going to work, but that's what's coming up for me next. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Cindy might have some questions. I know that our conversations have focused really around the technical aspects of the piece and how to make them work, but I think we've got a pretty good solution for it. But that was one of the things, was the set. I was trying to sway her, but she has swayed me to make it a very practical and realistic looking set instead of just darkness. And it certainly...
Yeah, I kept saying, who wants to watch somebody in a really dark set? Who's going to pay to see that, or who's going to watch it? You know, so we compromised. We're going to go with a lighter set. And your set, your basement is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so I love it, and especially since our star, my partner, looks similar to you. Dark hair, dark beard. You know, he's got that similar look, so it translates perfectly to the lighter set like that.
He sounds handsome.
He is. Very similar to you, David. Very similar.
And Anthony is also into the martial arts and karate, so I know that he's really... We were trying to find the actor who could pull it off, doing all that cardio and still be able to say the lines and not pass out. But I think that Cindy and Anthony were going to go film some of the intro shots. How'd that go, Cindy?
We haven't done it yet. We're doing it tomorrow. We're going to do a montage of him doing various physical activities for the intro of the show. So, including some karate and things of that sort. So. I have to say here, David, we're not sure we can get a television worked into the scene. So, but we'll have something else instead, if that's okay.
I think, because I just listed a bunch of electronics and things flying that, please, director's discretion to make it work with the limited.
Exactly. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So Adam, that brings us to the stinkiest thing to round out the fantasy mystery grouping.
Hey, everyone. What a great lineup of plays. Amazing writing. It all sounds so interesting. So how did I start writing? I started off as a poet. I just thought the idea of living with sheep on a farm in complete poverty seemed like really achievable life goals. And got to university, and my work was so bad that my teacher said, I refuse to mark your work. So that's not the greatest thing to say to a student, but it turned out to be the best advice, because I started to write plays really badly for a few years, and then I sort of worked out how to do things. So that's how I got into writing. This play came from, I've got two really young kids. You might be able to tell by those huge shopping bags under my eyes and the complete darkness that I'm sitting in trying to cover that. And I've got this tradition that came from my dad where they can say any word and I have to make up a story about it that night. So it can be anything. And, you know, it can be funny, sad. And one day my daughter said the stinkiest thing. And so I told this story about the stinkiest thing, and this girl befriends the stinkiest thing. And, you know, how they connect together, how they drift apart. It's about loneliness. There's a bit of humor in there. And at the end, she sort of teared up a bit. That's not something you really want to make your child do. It's not something I strive to do in life normally. But when she teared up at the end, I thought maybe I'll write that one down. So I wrote that one down, and yeah, and she asked to hear it the next night. So that doesn't always happen. So two good signs. Yeah, so it's never left her bedroom. So no one's ever heard it before. So this will be the first time anyone's ever heard it. So we're both excited about that. What am I working on now besides 8 hours sleep? I'm doing my first musical. It was staged a couple of years ago. It went fairly well, but I wasn't happy with it. So I'm doing a bit of a rewrite on that. And I'm attempting my first full-length kids play as well.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, so Adam, we struggled with this one as the playwriting committee. We all just totally fell in love with this story. But there was the biggest argument about whether it was a play or not.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that we chose it, because it got super high marks from everybody. But we knew that it had to be in the hands of an artist. And so from one father to another, I chose my daughter. So Lulu, would you talk a little bit about your approach to Adam's piece and ask any questions you have for Adam?
Yes, thank you for telling the story of your inspiration for this. I love that. It did read as a children's story, so it's very cool to hear the origins of that. It's nice to be able to talk to you today. So just like reading through this and trying to figure out how to make a play of it, no less a play on the internet, I saw, you know, if I was doing it with actors, I would probably want to have a big ensemble cast running around, you know, transforming into all the different parts of it. But as it is, instead, I decided to use a bunch of puppets and dolls. And so I've created a bunch of small sets that I can film in my own bedroom. I have a little planet Earth that's going to split apart and all the insides of it will come spilling out. We have the most spectacular circus on Earth.
Oh my God.
We'll have lots of little animals running around there. But I did want to have some real people in the play as well. So I've got a dear friend of mine who I've worked with before has choreographed a short dance as well. So we'll have a couple of dancers interspersed throughout. And so it's a big, like, it's a big children's story circus on the tiny level and the macro level.
How good's this virus? Seriously, this never would have happened in the real world, right? So that is a beautiful positive in all the sadness and, you know, destruction that's happening. So thank you for seeing it that way, because that's brilliant. That's beyond anything that I saw and better. So you've taken it to the next level. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. That is that's lovely to hear. I'm curious about what you had envisioned, though. And I'm also curious about when you think of the stinkiest thing. I mean, I know you came up with it off the top of your head as a children's story, but the stinkiest thing itself and everything that we see it do and what it causes people to do has a lot of varied symbolic potential. I'm curious, what for you are some of the meanings of the stinkiest thing?
I think just let everyone know, and it's so this girl befriends this stinkiest thing. It works in the circus, and its job is, this circus is so amazing that the audiences refuse to leave. So they stay there for 3 days giving an encore. So they hire the stinkiest thing so the audience leaves, and nothing has ever come towards the stinkiest thing except for this little girl who stays behind. And as soon as she touches it, it smells like marshmallows melting in hot chocolate. So they have a really good connection. So within that, I wanted to, you know, be a touch political and talk about how the world is kind of going a little bit to hell. So what happens is as the two kind of break apart, the girl drifts away from the stinkiest thing. It starts to stink, but stink really badly, and everyone has to leave the street, the city, and then eventually planet Earth. So the stinkiest thing is left all by itself. So I guess what I'm looking at there is the way that we just treat the world like a toilet sometimes. And, you know, I just think about my daughter. What are we leaving behind for her? You know, I've got a lot of faith in that generation will hopefully fix our problems, or some sort of super robot. But that was my main theme going through it, I guess.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. I really love this play. I love being able to see the problems of the world through the perspective of a child, and the fact that you get to see this child age from a child to a teenager until finally being the oldest human still alive at the end. But since this person is a child as well as the oldest human, and they do repair the earth at the end, we get this very hopeful message of what you're saying, that we hope that the next generation is going to find some sort of way to bring it all back together. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you all for picking a bedtime story. Sorry.
Right. I just want to say thank you. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever read.
Oh my
God. It really took us by surprise. Like, I had to take a moment after I finished reading it, and then I've read it, you know, a few times since. It's exceptional, and it's very interesting and unique and profound is what it is, really. That was my take on it. So thank you for writing it. And keep.
It's the first feedback I've ever heard, because I haven't sent it out to anyone else. So you guys are the first. So, you know, it's nice to get a great reaction from a 4-year-old, but this is great as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This takes us to the comedies. Let's see, No Regrets. John Minigan, are you here?
Yes, yes, I am. So in terms of getting started writing, like Adam, I started as a poet, and figured that playwriting is only slightly more likely to yield any sort of success. And I heard a quote somewhere, and I think it's great that a playwright is a poet who got lonely. And I think that really works. Because I love the work with language, but then I also love collaboration. And I started doing theater because I was a high school math teacher who was like writing fiction and poetry. And the person who was running the drama program said, "Would you like to help out?" And I liked going to plays. So I said, sure. And within about 3 months, decided I was no longer going to be a high school math teacher, went to graduate school, studied theater for the first time, like everything changed. So that was exciting. The inspiration for this piece, a couple of years ago, I did the 31 plays in 31 days thing, which if you know it, it's in the month of August, you write a new play every day and length doesn't matter. It's just like beginning, middle, and end. And I was on a bus. I'd gone to New York to see a friend's show in a festival and was heading back to Boston. And the character of Emily, who calls in on the phone in that play, popped into my head, and I just had to pull out a notebook and wrote almost everything stream of consciousness. It just, she arrived and started talking. What I'm working on now, I'm working on a new full length called Where Things Went Wrong. And it's about the dangers of belief. And it's the form of a woman who works for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, infiltrating what would normally be thought of as a cult to try to get information to decide whether anybody needs to take this so-called cult down. And she, of course, goes over to the other side, into the cult, and then ends up causing devastation. It's a cheery little play. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on now.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I look forward. I hope you'll send us an advance copy. That sounds really good.
Yeah, I hope I can finish it, and I will do that if I do.
Yeah, John, it's really nice to meet you virtually.
Yes.
Abby, our actress, and I have been having so much fun with the script.
Yeah, that read through that was posted on Facebook was just so delightful, so delightful. Yeah.
It was one of those things that I was worried about, like, is he going to be upset that we've taken 2 different characters and put them into one actor? Because
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. Abby's I don't know, and she's here, so I don't know if she'll speak at all, but she's an extremely talented voice actress. And it's really interesting hearing that you have this background in poetry, because the way that it's written is so like structured as if it has a poem, and there's like really a flow to it. Like there's, with both characters especially, we're finding like so many different like waves of feelings and like moments they're going through. Is like really a lovely arc with each character, and I think that makes it extra fun for me and Abby. But I had one question specifically. You said that you kind of just started with Emily as a stream of consciousness as a character. So when did the whole Dunning-Kruger, because that seems like an intentional last name, like what part of that did that come into your playwriting?
Initially, just sitting on the bus, the first hyphenated name that occurred to me was Kobayashi Maru, for people who know that reference. It's like the impossible test to solve on Star Trek. Like nobody can ever do it. So she was originally Emily Kobayashi Maru. And then it was like, I don't want to make it look like, oh, this is an Asian woman who is calling in. It can only be played by an Asian woman calling in. And so I started to think of other hyphenated names that also amused me. So Dunning-Kruger was the place that it ended up. Yeah.
How funny. Yeah, it's so funny. Like just a fun play to work on.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know. Yeah.
It certainly helped me pass those 4 hours on the bus to write the first draft.
4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm unmuted. Hi, John.
Hi. Nice to hear you, Abby.
Oh, yeah, we'll right back at you and see you live. I just wanted to say thank you so much for submitting this. And when I first read it, I was sitting on the couch. My parents were next to me, and I was just like laughing out loud. And they were like, "What are you laughing at?" You know, I'm like trying to explain to them. I'm like, you have to just read it. But I really enjoy, as Paige and I have been working on it, this idea that, what is Emily like doing while she's leaving these voice messages? And so just like the creative, journey we get to take with this just is so exciting and so much fun. And so, yeah, just thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing when you think about all these plays, how brilliant each one is, and how fortunate that we are that we're all together at this moment. So just segueing into Surf's Up, Ken, would you let us know some inspiration? Because this one's a particularly beautiful father-daughter story.
Well, the actual inspiration for this was I participate as a local theater in Santa Monica, the Ruskin Theater, and once a month when there was theater, they would hold one-day play festivals, and they would get 5 playwrights, and we would meet in the theater at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, and we were each given headshots of 2 actors and a common topic, and we had 3 hours to write a 10-minute play, and then the actors and directors come in at like noon, and they rehearse it and stage it and perform it that night. And that particular night, excuse me, the topic was the end of summer, and I was given a middle-aged gentleman and a millennial woman, and so that's basically what I came up with. And my background is pretty much television. I was a TV writer for many years.
Nice. David, do you have any questions for?
Not any. I don't think I have any questions. I just wanted to voice my appreciation for your piece, Ken. I think when I read it the first couple of times, I was like, oh, this is a sweet, story. I really like it. But the more that we've worked on it, and I have 2 amazing actors working on it, the more we're finding the places where, it's one of those like classic pieces where if you just do it one note the whole way, it's really not interesting. But when you really delve into it and you start finding, okay, when are these people teasing one another? And when are they really frustrated with each other? And how much of that is a function of who's the parent in any given situation? And we're having so much fun with it. And the 2 actors that I have working on it are just fantastic. And every time we touch it, it just gets deeper and more wonderful. So I'm really excited for you to see where it goes from our first reading, because it's,
thanks. I'd love to see your first reading or a rehearsal or something.
Joy. Yeah, maybe we can work something out with Argo and try and figure out a time when you can eavesdrop and see where things are at, because it's cool. It's really shaping into a wonderful, wonderful thing.
No, thank you.
So thank you.
I think one of your wonderful actors has their hand up as Jasmine is here. Jasmine, you want to say something?
Hi, Ken. Yes, I just wanted to echo those sentiments. We are having a blast with your script. Corey and I are just having a really great time and finding so many interesting things. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for the good time.
Thank you. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Okay. So just moving things along, an interview with George. Greg.
Hi, everyone. On that last one, Argo, Corey.
Oh, yeah, Corey has one other question. Sorry, Greg.
Sorry about that. Nope.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say thank you, and that just to say the same thing as everybody else has been saying. We're having so much fun discovering this and playing with Jasmine, and it's been great. The play's awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Sorry about that. Didn't see your hand in time.
All right, I was slow.
So, Greg, what was the inspiration for an interview with George?
Yeah, so interview with George, I'm not even sure like how it happened exactly, except I wanted to write a play that would fit well on Zoom. So I came up with a bunch of just possible Zoom type scenarios. And then a couple days later, looked at that list and thought, okay, well, we'll see. And then I thought, well, what do I want to really write about? You know, what do I want this play to do? And because I realized when I first read the notice, I just somehow in my head got write a play for Zoom, okay? And then I looked back on it, and then I saw it said, and reflect, hindsight, on, you know, what we've all just gone through. And I'm like, how did I just come up with a bunch of scenarios, you know, just brainstorming, not, you know, all these scenarios and not even think about the hindsight aspect of this. So I felt pretty stupid. And then I thought, okay, so what do I want to achieve with this play? Like, what do I want to communicate about this crazy experience we've all gone through, you know, like, and I just kept thinking about, you know, obviously, like, it's been a lonely time for people, and it's been really hard for people to connect. And when I would go through every day and just read Twitter and see how people are just like really talented and smart people who are just kind of at their wits' end, you know, and then I would also like read some like really nasty comments on Twitter and this and that. I thought about like how the internet and how when we're not face to face, things can get really bad. So then I thought, well, you know, like, how can non-face-to-face communication be a good thing? And so one of the scenarios I came up with originally was a job interview that goes bad because it gets too personal. And so that idea just kept sticking with me. So I really traveled that road for a while and just wrote a bunch of intuitive scenarios with that. And I realized I had previously written a play that wasn't for Zoom at all, but it had this one character in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take George and I'm going to put him in this situation. Like, something had happened to him in his last play. I'm like, and now I'm going to make him lose his job and see how he handles that. And I like never do that with my plays. Like, I never steal from my plays. But I'm like, why don't I steal from my plays? I see other writers do so successfully all the time. So I was like, all right, I'm going to break this rule. I'm going to take George and put him in this different situation. And then the more I was writing it, I realized like I really wanted these people to help each other and surprise each other. You know, like, what can two strangers give each other? Because one experience I've had throughout the entire COVID process is I've really come across a lot of generosity from strangers. You know, like all these people do like writing workshops and like all you could just get so many things online for free now because people just want to give. So I thought, well, I'll put these two characters at breaking points in their lives and I'll have them surprise each other. And so it was just like this weird kind of like ball of I don't know-ness, just little by little getting smaller and smaller until I knew what I was writing. And the hardest thing to come up with was the title, because and normally I come up with titles no problem. And at the last second before I submitted it, I changed the title and I based, because I wanted it to have like this kind of like universal feel. So like at one point it was like an interview with George, but I'm like, no, it's not just George, it's a George. Because George is this person who's like, he's just more representative of just someone who's been twisted by 2020. So that's how it all came. So I don't know if that makes sense to anyone.
Yeah,
but
that
that's
totally
how this
makes
one.
sense. It comes across perfectly. Yeah. So I'm working on that with David and Denise as the characters. And I know that during rehearsals, we've had some questions. We've come up with how we're interpreting it, but I'd love to hear from you. For those not familiar with the stories, a George has an imaginary friend who happens to be a dinosaur. And so we wanted to know if this is kind of like a Harvey moment for him, or what was your inspiration for Dino?
So Dino was in the previous play that I stole George from, is the play where Dino is like his best friend, who hangs out in his house. George is married, got 2 kids, but he's got this like imaginary friend Dino who he hangs out with and just talks to and just says what all his deepest fears to. But in this particular play, Dino is when Dino says, George, I'm leaving you, you know, basically we find out that Dino's got to go to die. He's had his like millions of year run on Earth, and this is it. This is the end. And it's devastating for George because then he doesn't know like how to go on, and he's got to like, how's he gonna like burden his wife with all his inner fears, and just so that story is kind of like Dino's kind of the end of a love story, but that's between, you know, like just like between a man and his dinosaur. And so that play is set definitely for the stage. It was inspired. I was directing, I also direct, and I mainly direct new plays because I love new plays best of all. But I was directing Proof at a community college, and the acting class was in the green room. And one day in the middle of our rehearsal, the acting class just walks onto our big proscenium stage. They're all dressed in these goofy dinosaurs and in these goofy costumes. And one was a dinosaur. And I was like, oh my God, I got to write a play with a dinosaur in it. And it took me 2 years before I finally did it. But I finally did it. And now then that became this play. So it may have taken many years. But I think really to answer your question, you know, I think it's what you want it to be, you know, like is Argo something, I mean, Argo, you are Argo. Is Dino someone that George has created, or is Dino really real? You know, like, I think that's up for you guys to decide. I always leave that up to the creative teams. Does that not help at all?
Well, that totally helps. Yeah,
he's real to George. That's all I need to know.
There you go. He's real. I mean, it was devastating for George to lose Dino. It was very difficult for him.
Yeah, I don't know why when I first read it, I laughed so hard. And then when I read it the second time, I went, this is really not funny. This is totally serious. And so I love that it works in this as a super dark comedy. It was so dark that I thought it was sweet to start with. Anyway, Denise or David,
yeah,
thing to say?
I'd written a lot of like serious dramas just before this. I'm like, well, I want to write something that's funny for once again, and of course, and it's still going to be like dark comedy even with me because that's normally how it rolls with me. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, not at all.
Well, we just fell in love with the play, and we really appreciated that it really had a flow, it had a journey to it that we could all relate to, the sadness and the weariness and the silliness and wackiness to help balance it out. So it's really a pleasure to take that ride. And I was curious to know your inspiration for Daisy, since we spoke of your inspiration for Dino and George.
Yeah.
So where did Daisy come from?
You know, Daisy, I just started writing her, but I knew, like, I interviewed her one day. Like, I'll interview my characters, and I'll be like, well, what's going on with you? What's the worst thing that happened to you? What do you need in your life right now? And I realized she was a woman that was just so like she just felt like she wasn't getting out of her life what she wanted. Like she wasn't pursuing what she wanted. And so I think Daisy's a lot. It's funny because both those characters I feel like are me in different ways. You know, it's like it's almost like I was having a conversation with myself between these two characters. Like there's pieces of both of those characters definitely in me, but like, you know, like I wanted to create a character who seems like she's totally got it together, but meanwhile, she's got so much crisis happening in her life. And, you know, like, how's her kid making it through all this? How's she dealing with like regret of her friends have lost work and she's still working? And just like, how does someone who's got to hold it together when they're about to fall apart? So that was just kind of the engine for Daisy. And Daisy came out pretty naturally for me when I was writing her, which is always a good sign. Like that doesn't always happen. So I was really, really grateful that it did in that way. I really like Daisy. Like I really like, she became so much more with each draft. Like the more I explored her, the deeper she came. And the play really found its depth as I found Daisy's depth more and more.
Nice. Nice. So moving into the dramas then, Ken, we really love both of your plays, and it was a struggle for us to choose which one to do. It just came down to just the other types of shows that we had within the festival and what we thought was best producible. So can you talk to us some more about Seconds and your process?
Sure. First, I'd like to say this is the first time I've ever been placed in the drama category in my entire life. I think I have about 70 scripts now, and I have one that I consider a drama because it has 0 jokes. It's only 3 pages, but there's 0 jokes. And so I was really wondering, like, when it was placed in drama, I'm like, uh-oh, hopefully they know that there's jokes here, because it's really strange, because generally when I write plays, it's a lot of setup and punchlines, but I was really happy that this one connected with you guys. Seconds is a love story, and I wrote it really early in the pandemic when I was talking with friends, and everybody had something that they were looking forward to that got taken away. Some were vacations and some were performances on stage. So I thought I'd try to address that, and my idea was just not a blind date or a first date, but a couple who had a great first date, and then the quarantine hit and they weren't able to have that second date. So that longing of wanting something. And it started off with a man and a woman on a conversation, and somehow it just evolved. It felt more natural between 2 women who had their first date. And the characters just sort of blossomed, and that was it. It's that idea of wanting something that was taken away, but in the end, still having hope and finding a way to make it happen, even though circumstances have made it trickier.
It's a very tender story. Yeah, I know that the entire committee just fell in love with both characters, and the situation was perfect for this time. Felicia, do you want to say anything or ask any questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I just, I mean, I don't have any questions, but I just want to say thank you. And it's absolutely gorgeous and a privilege to work on it. And I know the actors aren't here, but they both really connect with the material on a personal level. And so it's just been a joy to, rehearse with them and talk about the circumstances of the play and their own lives and experiences that they've had during the pandemic that are similar. And it's just, it's a privilege. It's really, I love the bittersweet quality of it, that yes, it's hopeful, and they're, Kendall in particular has such a great sense of humor, and it's, there's a lot of zip and chemistry between them and flirtation, but that there's this underlying uncertainty, which is, I think, one of the things that really got everybody. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, and it's been really
I'm glad you guys connected with it. I think we all have that feeling when we meet someone that it could be a friendship, but it could be a romance, that those beginning stages are so exciting. And it was just interesting to put them in the midst of a pandemic where they're healthy, but they're kept apart. So do you have a stuffed elephant?
We have a tiny Bumby right now that we're working with, but I think Bumby is going to be larger than that. And Nadia's face is going to be very plush and soft, and so Bumby will be a big part of that for sure.
The stuffed elephant actually came from my own life, where I bought a stuffed animal for a girl in high school, and I had it in my locker to give to her. And right before a homecoming dance, my good friend asked her to homecoming before I had a chance to. And then for about 2 months, the elephant kind of sat in my locker, and every single time I opened my locker, it was there kind of mocking me, like, oh, you were too slow. And so 3 decades later, the stuffed elephant made it into a play. So I can't wait to see, and probably feel really bad when I see the stuffed elephant staring back at me from the stage.
I would love to see a photo you have. Yeah. Can you tell me anything about, we've been talking a lot about the circumstances of how old they are and where they went on their date, and how many hours was this date, and was it in Santa Monica, and what did they do? And do you have any thoughts that you would like me to know?
Well, they described the date a little bit, of that beautiful night on the beach where they had their first kiss, and then spring breakers kind of hooted at them. I picture it was just like that one perfect date, and then they each went home excited about what was going to happen next, and the pandemic kind of swooped in, like it did for all of us. I think we all had plans for like March 14th when everything's like shut down on March 13th, which incidentally was my birthday. The whole world seemed to stop. So, yeah, I put them at age 20 in my mind, because one went back home to take care of the parents, but I mean, they could actually be older. They could be younger too, I suppose. It was just what struck me as I created them. But I'm open to your interpretations and your actresses' ages. I'll be happy.
I mean, it's been remarkable how much connection all three of us have to the piece, which has been really fun. One of the young women, actually, she did our first read through from New York, and then she's now living back home with her parents for the exact same reason. Anyway, all three of us have a lot of connection to it, which has been really wonderful. My favorite ice cream is rum raisin. Last show I directed was The Graduate. So we're all just having a wonderful time with it. So,
it sounds like kismet. I thank you guys for your hard work on it. I can't wait to see it.
We've got 2 playwrights left to meet. Jackie Martin, No Time.
Hi. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I wrote my first play in high school as a drama class assignment. And I fell in love with the process and everything, and ended up writing all through high school and college, putting things on with friends. My high school drama teacher, who I'm still very, very close with, actually let us just do like student one acts all the time. And now that I'm a teacher, I'm like, oh, that was real smart of you to like let us do our own thing and not have to really do that much. But at the time, it just felt like so wonderful to be able to do those. I was actually studying theater in college, teaching acting in different programs, got a real office job after college, didn't write anything or do any kind of theater for like 15 years. And then a couple of years ago, just realized something was missing, and that I had been I have 2 young kids, and I had been really sad about not having the time to act anymore. And I thought, well, no, I don't have time to act, but I can write whenever. I don't have to leave them with a babysitter for that, or like leave them with my husband for that, if he's working or something. So I started writing, and luckily have been able to keep it up the last couple of years. I wrote No Right Time when theaters were first starting to look for Zoom plays. The pandemic was just really at its first peak here in Massachusetts. So I guess I wrote it as a way to sort of process some of the things that we were seeing on the news, some of the things we were talking about. I'm a person who, like, really serious conversations about stressful things just stress me out more. And my husband is a person who like needs to have that conversation in order to not feel stressed out. So that dynamic, and then the fact that many of our family members are healthcare workers, really sort of just resulted in the play. Right now, I'm not getting a lot of new writing done. I'm a middle school teacher, and that is taking all of my brain power at the moment, doing the hybrid teaching thing. Luckily, I had so I have this full length that it's not been produced, it's in development, and it's like this drama sci-fi thing that I wrote for high school performers. And I had a middle school in Texas reach out about turning it into a 1-act for them to do. And so between it being younger performers and needing to be shorter, I did a rewrite, and that was a fun challenge and kind of allowed me to dive back in to rewriting the full length again. So I'm grateful that I've been doing something, even if it's, just working on older things. So when I have the mental bandwidth, that's what I've been focusing on, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy to see like so many playwrights whose plays I love, and love to read and have seen performed, other works of theirs performed and everything. So it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Denise, I know you're working on this piece, and I know that Chris Schlimp's in the audience too, and John Browning. Is there anything you'd like to say to Jackie, or any questions you'd like to ask?
No questions at this time. I think we're just having a great time exploring it, a great time creating the relationship between the 2 characters, just being really honest with what's going on, and that in many ways, this is the reality that people are facing. So we're just really appreciative of the fact that it was written and highlighting in this manner what is happening and reflecting what's happening with our first responders and doctors and nurses in the world. So yeah, going well. I'm really enjoying working with my two actors. They're hilarious and they're really bringing a lot of their own magic to the roles. I'd love to hear if they have any questions for you though. So let me bring it to them.
Yeah, we were surprised. I see that Chris is going to say something just before you go, Chris. We were surprised that we didn't get more plays about the front lines and those relationships. I don't know why that was, but so this was great to be able to represent that as well, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you.
How's it going, Chris? Or John? Can't quite hear you.
Chris and John, you're both unmuted, but we can't hear you.
How about now?
There you go.
There we go. Well, yeah, one of the things that made this play personal for me is that my daughter is a nurse up in Seattle. She works at Virginia Mason Hospital. So, I've been hitting her up for all kinds of research and, what it's been like for her. And it's, now that the surge is happening again, it's just gotten scarier. So it's not hard at all to make make this feel really personal. So thank you.
And thanks to your daughter.
John, if you're there and have anything you'd like to say or add? Maybe in a moment.
John, we can't hear you. If you want to type in the chat, you can.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. No, it's a really beautiful piece, and Jackie, I really appreciate you writing it and putting it together, and it's been a joy to rehearse with Denise and Chris, and just really trying to find just the relationship between the two. And Chris and I talked about it earlier, that I appreciate also that the same-sex relationship isn't kind of the main issue of the story. I think there's so many LGBTQ stories that are out there it's always about that, and everything else is kind of secondary. And I kind of love that it's a story about a couple who are trying to connect during this time of crisis. And I just want to say thank you for putting that in there as well. And I really look forward to performing it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I'm really excited.
It is just a couple of weeks. Now I'm really nervous. We'll talk about the next rehearsals after and before we go. So don't let me forget, because we do want you all to be able to attend a few rehearsals if you want to. But that brings us to Eva Hearts Riley. Chris, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. It's kind of funny. I also started out as a poet. I started out as a slam poet, and theater kind of came as an extension of that. I always say I don't have the typical theater story. I wasn't like in the community theater production of Annie when I was 8. And then, had that life-changing moment of falling in love. I was about to graduate high school once I fell in love with theater. And I think I fell in love first, of course, with slam poetry, and then with playwriting, with the ability to tell your story and tell stories that don't usually get told. And I believe that the reason I didn't get into theater until so late was because I didn't have access to it. Theater wasn't appealing to me because I wasn't seeing myself reflected in theater. Even stories that involved people who look like me didn't reflect my experiences, didn't reflect my upbringing. And so I kind of dedicated my life to telling those stories as honestly as possible. and as often as possible. And that's kind of where Eva Hearts Riley came in, with just wanting to tell a story about now, and tell a story about, two young women, one Black, one white, being in a relationship in 2020, where we've advanced and gone through so much change, and yet there's still a lot of change to be done, and there's still a lot that has gone unchanged, and wanting to examine what would it be like to be a Black woman and a Black woman in the LGBTQ community. What is to kind of have those two things that society doesn't always agree with? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And I had never examined that in the show, and so I kind of took this chance to do just that, and see how these two very different people who love each other react to kind of the time that we live in. So that was kind of the inspiration and the basis of writing this show. And yeah, I've just been trying to keep as busy as possible. I had a show that actually went up last night in Miami as part of the series of the first staged plays in front of an audience since the shutdown happened. So they had a socially distanced audience and got to do it on stage, which was really interesting. And then I had a radio play that was released on Monday. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to keep as busy as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that first play that was in front of an audience. I bet that was interesting, but what were some of your observations or feelings?
Right. Well, I wasn't in attendance. I wasn't about to fly down to Miami to go see that. Not quite worth the risk. But by all accounts, it was a great night of live theater. And from the videos that I saw and the photos that I saw, it was just like being back home again to a lot of people. And I think the actors had a great time, even though they had to have like the face shields on and they were just looking like sci-fi characters. But I think that what happened was at some point during the show that kind of faded, and people just kind of realized that they were there to hear a story be told, which I think is really beautiful. So yeah, it was exciting. And I hope that we can continue to slowly put things up again and slowly rebuild our community on stage.
Yeah, so I'm getting to work on this piece with Paige and with Jasmine. I just want to say thank you. It's really beautifully written, and it does touch upon all the things that you just talked about. We're not playing any of that. We don't have to. It's just apparent in the words, but these two young women are beautiful and confused and vulnerable, and it just all comes across wonderfully. Paige or Jasmine, you have anything you want to jump in on that?
I have a question, but first, Chris, can I say hello? I am also a late lover of theater. I didn't find that space until after college, which is, I can definitely relate to the lack of access growing up. So, hey, from another late lover. But I wanted to ask you, the subject matter is quite complicated, where I feel like a couple of any age would be fascinating to kind of sit in and be a fly on the wall as they kind of confront these problems. But why did you come up with, two women on the cusp of adulthood, women, heading off to college as, people who have to kind of talk through this really complicated stuff?
Yeah. One, I think that's the age group that I can speak for the best. I'm only 21, so I'm not too far removed from that age group. So I think I can speak those voices better than I would to 60-year-olds. No offense to the 60-year-olds in the room. But yeah, so I think that's the main reason. And also because, and this is why it's really crazy why I've never really examined subject matters like this, is because I was raised around women. the most influential people in my life were women, from my mom to my sister to my grandmother to teachers. I had majority female teachers growing up, to friends who have had this conversation, albeit in different ways at different times. And so it felt like the most honest way to tell the story, and a way to tell the story that I hadn't seen. But I know it's happening all around us, especially since we're all kind of distanced and in our own space. And so I wanted to also focus on what is it like to be distanced both physically and emotionally, and not be able to reach the other person in every single way. So yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Chris. It's been really, really enjoyable working on this piece. And that's so crazy. I had no, like, you don't look 21 to me. That's so, it's really cool. I think you're the youngest member of this whole project, which is just really exciting. But anyway, yeah, like, I think that this piece is really great. And obviously, like, Eva is like the central, is kind of the focus of the piece. Like you were saying, it's this, what is the experience of being a young Black woman, LGBTQ as well. And after hearing you say that, I just find it interesting the way that it ends, because it, in a way, like, Eva gets all the power by shutting the conversation down when she does and leaving, but you end it with, you know, Riley. That's the last moments are her moments. And so I think as an actor, I've been thinking about, like, what is, you know, how is she really ending the play, and how is she, like, that's such a huge conversation to have. And for me personally, I don't see Riley really growing or change, or like coming to this realization in the play. But, and I don't want you to like tell us what to do, but I was just wondering if you had like any ideas of how you thought about those last moments with Riley in the play.
Well, I think, and I don't want to give you guys any answers really direct for that one, because I'd love to see what you guys just do with it. But I think that in those last moments of the play, I think Riley realizes exactly what you just realized, which is that she's capable of growth, but she hasn't. And she kind of spent the whole conversation doing the inverse of that, and trying to prove to Eva that she is different than her parents and is different than her upbringing, while doing nothing but perpetuating that upbringing and perpetuating all the things that she was taught, while living in that home, and trying to deflect and trying to push blame on the other people. And I think in those last moments, she realizes that, and she also realizes that as long as she lives in that home and in that environment, that she's not going to escape it. You know, and it's that moment at some point in the show where she's talking to Eva about them going off to college, and Eva says, okay, but then on holidays we still have to come home. What about then? Who are you going to be in those months and in those moments when we're basically back in this exact situation? So I think all of it hits Riley in the end, when she's alone and is quiet, and she has no need to defend herself against Eva, and she feels no need to say anything in her own defense. She's defenseless at that point. She's alone, and it's just her in this home that has kind of been turned into the villain of the show. Is the home, and so it's just her kind of having to reckon with that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate you speaking to that.
Yeah, the term "the old-fashioned" is such a coded language. When she refers to her parents, they're old-fashioned. Just like, no, they're racist. You know, so these systems are very apparent, and you're very astute in talking about how, you know, we're educated and we know better, and yet we haven't made those changes yet. There is a lot of change left to go. Yeah. So thank you for that play. So we've met everybody. We did it. Hello, everybody. We are well met. And I'm just looking down through here some of the notes here. David says he was a nanny at age 8. Yeah. And Guy, I got the theater bug watching The Rivals in Edinburgh, and you were 21. Yeah, just blown away with the life experiences. So for me, the theater, you know, oh, my camera just went out. Anyway, I can cut to a still. Right? Can everybody hear me still?
Yes.
Okay, I'll cut to a still. Oh, looks like my whole system went down. That's okay. For me, the theater, people say, why do you keep doing theater? You should just be taking a break. COVID's here. What do you you give yourself a reason to take a break? And I'm like, no, this is when the world needs us the most. This is our time. It's our time. You can't stop us from telling stories. Nothing's going to stop us from telling stories. If we take that break, then what were we doing it for anyway? So I just want to share with you all how, again, impressed we are by your work and your beautiful words, and I hope that we do them justice. The rehearsals that we have on the docket is December 20th. Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but December 20th is a tech run. It's a run through for the designers, I should say, with no tech. And we will send out an invite to you. If you are able to come, that would be a good time to see it because you'll get to see all of them. And other than that, I don't know, each director could send out an invite to a rehearsal and invite you, or if you want to see them again when we get through tech, through the nightmare that is tech. So that's how you could stay in contact with these. So if we're going to do them live for a couple of weeks, you saw that. And then after that, they're going to be running on various streaming platforms, Stellar to start with, and then we'll probably move it to YouTube or Vimeo. And I have a crazy idea now after reading all these and falling in love with the 10-minute format to create a whole series, like a TV kind of a series of a play of the day. And my artistic associates are trying to say, well, maybe just a month, but play of the month, Argo, not a play of the day. You're insane. So we might start with a play of the day, a month, and work to a week. So if you've got more material, please, again, send it our way. We're ready to read your beautiful words. Anybody else want to say anything?
This was really fun.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Really wonderful.
I would like to say, as someone who can't write for shit, my slam poetry career was very short because I sucked. I am in awe of, I'm in awe of playwrights. As an actress, I love to be able to bring those words to life. But I am just in awe of every single one of you. So thank you so much.
Just thank everybody. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting.
Thank you, Denise.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw in a quick thank you also for the selection committee folks. I think you picked a really nice spread of really great things that translate well to this environment. So thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, David. I would like to say thank you to the Playwright Selection Committee too, and many of you are here. So can you just go ahead and raise your hands? I know Kimberly and Joe and Felicia and Paige, and if I don't say your name, in the audience, Melissa is there. If I didn't say your name, don't hate me forever. I'm juggling a lot of electronic devices. Yeah, again, thank you so much. It's wonderful to see your faces and get to hear you. I think it gives every director and the actor some more insight into the shows, which is wonderful. And if, with your permission, I would like to share this with our subscribers, recording of this show. So if you don't want anything that you said, please send me an email. I won't, I'll start editing it this week. But if you don't want to be included, just say I don't want, maybe you're running from the law. I don't know. Yeah, but thank you again so much. Yeah. I like the sound of applause. Can't wait till we can hug each other again. All right.
Also, I'm sorry, I do want to add, I love that, like, where you were all saying you found the submission flyer, I feel like that was passed on by other playwrights somehow in a lot of those locations. And if anything, like, and also becoming friends with a lot of you on Facebook in order to add you to the group, and seeing that you're already, know each other, and kind of how that seems very random to me, but it just like shows that I think that the playwriting community is pretty, just really supportive. I feel a lot of support in this group, and that's been really cool to see as well. And so at least with this pandemic, we have we see this broader community that I think our eyes would have been closed to. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Paige. Yeah, Paige deserves like all the applause here. She's
Yeah,
held it
she
all
does.
together. Way to go, Paige.
Thank you.
All right then. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hey, it's awkward end of rehearsal time. Well, guess I'll log off. Bye, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank